Imagine a player with the physical power of a heavyweight boxer, the tactical vision of a grandmaster, and the delicate grace of a ballet dancer, a man so complete that even the legendary Sir Bobby Charlton spent 60 years admitting he was the only player who ever made him feel inferior. This is not just a story of what was, but the haunting cinematic odyssey of what might have been. The stratospheric rise and the tragic snowy twilight of Duncan Edwards. In the post-war grit of Dudley, a black country town built on the sweat of coal miners and the heat of iron forges, a boy was growing who seemed cast from the very materials of his birthplace. While other children were merely playing at football, Duncan Edwards was dismantling it. By the age of 14, he wasn't just a prospect. He was a phenomenon that frightened grown men. Picture the scene: a rain-slicked schoolboy pitch in 1950. A scout from a rival club stands on the touchline, huddled in a trench coat, watching this teenager. He scribbles a note that survives in the archives today. "I have seen a boy who is a man already. He doesn't play the game, he dictates it." When Manchester United manager Matt Busby sent his legendary talent scout, Joe Armstrong, to see the boy, the report was even simpler. Sign him before he realizes he's better than the rest of the world combined. On a cold October night in 1952, the United delegation arrived at the Edwards modest family home. Duncan signed his professional forms at the kitchen table while his mother, Sarah, served tea. He was 16 years old. Less than a year later, he made his debut against Cardiff City. The Old Trafford faithful didn't see a nervous debutant. They saw a man-child with thighs like oak trees and a lung capacity that seemed to defy biology. He was the foundational stone of the Busby Babes, the heartbeat of a generation of youngsters destined to conquer the world. To truly understand Duncan, you have to look past the grainy, flickering black and white footage. You have to hear the sound. His teammates nicknamed him Boom Boom because of the visceral, percussive thud his boots made when they met the heavy, lace-up leather balls of the era. It wasn't a kick. It was an explosion. He was a multi-purpose player decades before the term total football was coined. Nominally a left half, in reality, he was a ghost who haunted every blade of grass. There is a famous, lesser-known story from a match against Chelsea. Duncan, frustrated by a lack of service to the forwards, simply took the ball from his own goalkeeper, dribbled past 6 players, and smashed a 30-yard rocket into the top corner. As he ran back to his position, he didn't celebrate. He just nodded to his captain as if to say, "That is how it's done." He possessed a terrifying physical dominance. In one international match against Scotland, he was marked by a veteran defender known for his hard man reputation. After 20 minutes of bouncing off Duncan's shoulders, the defender reportedly turned to his teammate and whispered, "It's like trying to tackle a moving brick wall that's also faster than a sprinter." By 18, he was an England international, the youngest ever at the time. He didn't just fit into the national team, he bent it to his will. Against West Germany in 1956, he was so immovable, so tactically perfect, that the German press, stunned by his maturity, dubbed him the Rock of Gibraltar. Beyond the pitch, Duncan was a man of quiet, iron-willed character. There's a story rarely told about his time in the army during national service. While playing for Manchester United on the weekends, he was still a soldier during the week. One afternoon, after a grueling day of military drills, he was told he couldn't leave the barracks to play in a crucial league game. Instead of complaining or using his fame to pull strings, Duncan spent the entire night polishing boots for his entire platoon and performing extra guard duty to earn his pass. He traveled through the night on a cold train, arrived at the stadium 2 hours before kickoff, played a full 90 minutes where he was the best player on the park, and then quietly took the midnight train back to the barracks to be on parade by 6 a.m. He never asked for special treatment. He only asked for the chance to compete. February 6, 1958, a date etched into the very soul of football history. Manchester United were returning from Belgrade, having secured their place in the European Cup semi-finals after a thrilling 3-3 draw. Duncan had been immense, a titan in the midfield. The mood on the plane, the Lord Burghley, was triumphant. The babes were laughing, playing cards, and dreaming of the final in Brussels. But in the slush and freezing fog of Munich Airport, the atmosphere shifted from triumph to dread. 2 aborted takeoffs had left the players nervous. Some tried to lighten the mood with jokes, while others sat in stony silence. On the 3rd attempt, the plane failed to gain lift, plowing through the perimeter fence, across a road, and into a house. The silence that followed the crash was broken only by the crackle of burning fuel and the haunting whistle of the Bavarian wind. In the wreckage, Duncan Edwards was found. He had suffered catastrophic injuries, broken legs, a smashed pelvis, fractured ribs, and severely damaged kidneys. In the Rechts der Isar hospital, a miracle seemed to be unfolding. While others had succumbed instantly or shortly after, Duncan fought. For 15 days, he waged a war against the impossible. His physical strength was so legendary that the German doctors, who had seen the extent of his internal damage, began to believe that his sheer willpower might actually pull him through. There is a moment from those 15 days that remains the most heartbreaking in all of sport. His assistant manager and mentor, Jimmy Murphy, sat by his bedside. Duncan, drifting in and out of a morphine-induced haze, gripped Jimmy's hand with what little strength he had left. He looked up and whispered, "What time is kickoff on Saturday, Jimmy? I mustn't miss the Wolves game. I have to be there." Even as his body was shutting down, his spirit was still at Old Trafford, waiting for the whistle. On February 21st, at 2:11 a.m., the battle ended. Duncan Edwards, the boy who seemed too strong for the world to break, passed away at the age of 21. The news didn't just stun Manchester, it paralyzed the nation. The BBC interrupted its programming. People stopped in the streets to weep. Thousands lined the route for his funeral in Dudley, standing in a silence so heavy it felt like the air itself was in mourning. Sarah Edwards, his mother, would later say that the light went out of the world that day. The tragedy of Duncan Edwards isn't just that he died young. It's the vacuum he left behind. We talk about the pantheon of greats, Pelé, Maradona, Messi, Ronaldo. But Duncan is the great ghost of football. He is the ultimate what if. Sir Bobby Charlton survived that crash, but he carried Duncan with him for the rest of his life. Bobby once said, "If I had to play for my life and could take one man with me, it wouldn't be Pelé, it wouldn't be Di Stefano, it would be Duncan. He was the only player who made me feel small." Think about that. A World Cup winner and Ballon d'Or recipient believed he was only the second best player in his own dressing room. If you visit Dudley today, you'll find a statue of him in the town center. He's depicted in full, powerful stride, chest out, looking toward a horizon he was never allowed to reach. He remains the ultimate symbol of the Busby Babes, a testament to youth, courage, and a brilliance that burned too bright for this world. There is one last story. Years after the crash, a young Manchester United fan asked an old man who had seen Duncan play what he was like. The old man didn't talk about goals or trophies. He simply said, "Imagine the best player you've ever seen. Now imagine him with the strength of 2 men and the heart of 10. That was Duncan. And the tragedy isn't that we lost him, it's that the game wasn't big enough to hold him. We will never know how many trophies he would have hoisted. We will never know if he would have led England to glory in 1958 or 1962. But in the hearts of those who remember, and in the hallowed halls of Manchester United, Duncan Edwards isn't a tragic figure. He is a permanent standard of excellence. He didn't just play for the club, he became its soul. The roar of the Stretford End still carries a hint of his thunder. The mud on the pitch still holds the memory of his stride. Duncan Edwards was the greatest talent Manchester United ever had, not because of the decades he gave us, but because of the immortal footprint he left in just 5 short years. If Duncan Edwards had survived Munich, do you believe Manchester United would have dominated the 1960s even more than they did? And would he be ranked above Pelé in the history books? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep his memory alive. If you want to support the channel and explore more deep dives into the legends of the game, make sure to check out the links in the video description.